Well, good morning, everybody. Um, this is the live stream of the recording of episode 4. So I tested all this just a bit earlier, and it went pretty well. I learned that I cannot step away from the mic at all and expect to be heard. So that was a disappointment, but I already knew that. I just didn't realize I didn't have any freedom. But that's cool. Let's see, what else did I learn? I learned that the way I read that the post that was part of the test recording was just, I didn't like it. I felt like I sounded way too snide. I'm gonna chase some people away with that one. But hey, I'm learning. So here's the thing. I've got episode 4 ready to go. I feel like I'm still working out my process a little bit as far as how comfortable I am speaking off the cuff, which is what I like to do the most. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what I enjoy. But I want to also stay on topic and teach you something that you can take away and go, okay, this is what I learned today. In fact, I don't know. I've got so my process so far is the first 3 episodes were just from my heart, and that's what I love. But now, in trying to give you something concrete and teach you, I've got I've basically I've created an outline. In fact, I'll just show you. Okay, so here's the outline. Yeah. So just, and then I thought about what I was going to say as if I was saying it. That's what it felt like anyway. And this is very rough drafty as far as writing goes, but as far as talking goes, I think it's great. But now it's there and I'm kind of stuck to it, and I'm going to try and not, I don't want to. I just don't want to read. I just don't feel like that's me. So, and there's people who do it really, really well, but I didn't do well. Maybe I just need to practice. So we shall see. So I'm going to start it here in just a second. I've been actually my wife just texted me, did you pass out down there or did you never come to bed and go to sleep? Yeah, I never went to bed last night. I came down to record real quick. I thought it'd be an hour, and I just, I guess it was buffering. I just wanted it to be good, right? And like the whole first 3 episodes were just me, and now all of a sudden I'm making offerings and asking people to sign up for coaching and just different things that all of a sudden this is something I'm getting comfortable with. It's something I know is going to help individuals, and as I continue the work, I'm absolutely benefited by it. And so I'm just putting myself out there, and it's it is. So yeah, I've been down here just trying to improve what I have to offer here in terms of value and production value. This is looking okay to me. I like it. And I can do some other things as well. Like when we start the show now, we're starting the show now. We get to start with this. So here we go. Hang on, false start. It's the wrong song. By the way, everybody, Ben Shirts. That's the music I'm playing, and he's excellent. So excited he's allowing me to use his music, and I'll be doing a mix pretty soon here. I don't think I'm talking about that on the podcast today, so I'll kind of give you a advance notice, but I'll be doing a mix of his music and posting it on SoundCloud. So Ben Shirts, Shurts. Okay, trying one more time. Here we go.
Square.
Spaceship.
Bulldozer.
Eraser.
Rewriting, recreating,
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here with me on this episode of Self-Love Uncut. I am Tyler Slack, and before we even get started today, I want to make sure you're signed up to get the schedule and links for free coaching that I offer. I'm a certified life coach to the Life Coach School, and I have a lot to offer by way of coaching. I'm really excited to share that with you guys. And it's been an honor to serve in that capacity. This is free coaching, and it's group coaching specifically is a really a wonderful tool that I've used to listen to a coach I've listened to a coach an individual. There we go. And walk through the model. And if you don't know what the model is, I'm going to teach you. So stick around, keep listening. I will teach you. And when you first start this work, it's very important that you get some help becoming aware of cycles of life that aren't serving you, or patterns. If you don't understand what I'm talking about with these cycles, I like to call them cycles, keep listening. I will teach you. The work has changed my life, and I really want to share it with the world. I want to introduce you to my teachers today, and I also want to tell you a little bit about myself, so that you know who you're learning from. So today we're going to go over some fundamentals. Fundamentals. All right. So we're going to go over some fundamentals, and I'm going to introduce you to 3 of my most recent teachers and coaches. And let's see here. So, as you know, this podcast is live streamed, and that just helps me enjoy the process just a little bit more. I don't really enjoy an editing process, so you get me and my learning curve, which is amazing. It's amazing that we all can overcome our own selves. I mean, it's actually possible. So many people, I'll just talk about me. I'm 44 years old, and this is my first venture into this type of, putting myself out there. And I'm excited to do that. I also want to give you some secondary sources for learning, especially if you've joined this podcast in its infancy. But I'm sure at this point you're listening because I keep telling everyone that they need to get started with episode 4. And it's going to be 2 or 3 parts. I'm not sure yet, but we'll keep these consumable. And, thank goodness it only took until episode 4. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how can you consider this getting good? I just listened to episode 480 and it's still not good. And that's totally cool. I'll hold space for your disdain, friend. I will, and I'm totally good with that. So if you've had the opportunity to listen to the bonus episode, which is a bit of a cringy train wreck. I mean, I'm not ashamed. That's who I am. I'm okay with you listening to the bonus episode, because what you're telling me when you listen to that is that you're a super fan. And I love you. I love my super fans. And because you're a super fan, you know that you're joining a cycle that I've created. And the beautiful news about that is that you're aware and I'm aware, and we know how this can serve us. And when we check in and say, is this still serving me? Then we can decide something different. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with this, keep listening. I will teach you. So let's just start the story, I suppose. There's different ways to tell a story. One common way is chronological, but I'm not going to do that to you today. I'm actually going to start with the spoilers. My daughter actually loves reading the end of books, or finding out about the movie before she watches it, and that's how she likes to do it. So I know there are others out there like my daughter, and here we go with some spoilers. So the spoilers in this story are the amazing teachers and coaches that I've had, especially recently. They include individuals and businesses and social groups and authors, and the list goes on and on. And I want to introduce you to them. So I'm going to step right into the middle of this story and let you know. It starts in not the best, not the best circumstances. So my wife and I were not in a good place together, and following my heart, I made some decisions that deeply hurt my wife. And she had reacted in a way that deeply hurt me. And both of our pain was valid, but we were still beholden to the cycles of life that didn't serve us, and we weren't even aware of it at the time. So we fought and we threatened, and we basically just, it was hell. And, that's probably the best way to put it. In our home, it was hell. Our kids will vouch for that. So thank love for the heart, because my mind was still nowhere near it. So my heart was all over. But I was floating down that river with no kayak, thinking my thoughts were circumstances. And if you don't know what I'm talking about there, go watch the video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can search for River of Life and Cycles or Cycles. You'll find it. It's my analogy on the River of Life. And so amidst all this chaos and turmoil, each of us basically reacting to the other reactions, what a vicious cycle that is. It was very notable to me the week my wife found a podcast that seemed to instantly fix everything. Like, she was suddenly not reacting to decisions I was making that just the day before she was very unhappy about. And I'm just like, wow, what is this? What do we got going on here? So I asked her what's happening. I mean, this is amazing. And she said she's been listening to the podcast, and it was called Bold New Mom. That was over 2 years ago. So the name has changed now. It's called Better Than Happy. So her behavior was so extremely different that I had to hear what was going on in this podcast. So I start listening and I'm completely intrigued. Like, I'm hearing things like I've never heard them before in my life, yet they didn't seem like I should be that surprised by it. I mean, it made sense. It was like a light bulb going on. I was becoming aware. And I was at that point, or previous to that point, the person that thought what came out of my mouth was fact. I mean, I'm sorry, I was that guy, and I'm going to be gentle with myself because we have to. You know, if we're going to love ourselves, that's part of it, is being gentle with ourselves. So I started to learn about what they call the model, and started to realize that there's so much power in thinking the thoughts that serve you and that help you feel happy and accomplish feelings of joy and good emotions. And to find out that when I was feeling all the negative emotions, it was many, many times a result of a thought that I could have changed if I only knew that that was a possibility. I just really thought about so much of life as fact, as circumstance. And that's the water in the river, and it just goes. It does not stop. And that's like circumstance and everything you can't control in life. And so, you know, I worked on being gentle with myself. I was learning about being more aware, and there's this shame cycle. If we're not gentle on ourselves, that's what we get trapped in. And so I paid Jody Moore to coach me. I joined her program, and she was my first coach. And I'd been reading some great books that started me to prepare for Jody, and I'll actually talk about those in part 2 or part 3. But first, let me pay tribute to Jody. And she's an amazing member of my former church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And having just recently left at that time, I could have rejected her message, and I could have even like ignored the amazing changes in my life and think that it couldn't, you know, like you can create any story. And I'm so glad that that's not what happened for me. I felt more along the lines that you could tell there was great things about Jody because of the great things that Heather was learning. So, you know, by their fruits you shall know them. And I recognized it. So you can check out her amazing Be Bold coaching program, and I would highly recommend it. Link to her website, jodymoore.com, is in the show notes. And definitely listen to her podcast. Absolutely make time for that. Again, it's now called Better Than Happy. She's absolutely amazing. Trained by the same coach as me, Brooke Castillo. We both went to the life coach school. It's a really great school. I'm glad I went. And let me tell you, one of the best things I learned how to do, and stay tuned and I will tell you. But first, here is one of the wonderful things that my coach, Jody Moore, taught me through her podcast.
All right, this really truly is a fun topic, though, and we're going to talk about love probably a lot differently than what you've heard before. So let's get into it. First of all, what is love? Love is an emotion, and it's an emotion that you get to feel. It is not something that you give away, and it's not something that anyone else can make you feel. We tend to think of love that way. I'm going to love this person, and then they're going to feel good because I love them. The truth is, you can love them And whether or not they feel good is up to them. So that's what I mean by love is not something that you can give away. And likewise, it's not something anyone else can make us feel. We choose what we're going to think about, which determines whether we're going to feel love or loved. If we're feeling loved, I believe that that's actually
Well, we got some technical difficulties. I would love to play some more of that for you. She just does a really wonderful job of explaining what love is and how we feel it. And I guess this is meant to be. As good as she is, I have a way to talk about this as well. I just like this was the life-changing moment for me. So yeah, let me talk about it on my own here. I'm sure this is going to be beautiful. All right, so what she's helping us understand is that when we experience love and we think that it's because of what someone is doing, it's actually because of what we think about what they're doing. And it's not bad at all, of course, to do nice things for people, but that's because of the love that you essentially have for yourself. And it was just a really amazing moment for me to realize that I had that much power that I was giving away for so long. And it was just a really, really amazing, light bulb that helped me change the way I was thinking about a lot of things that weren't serving me. And if you're here listening to this podcast, having left a religion behind and perhaps having deconstructed, maybe just in a place of not knowing, you might have cringed when I start playing a podcast by someone of a church that you maybe disagree with. But she knows her audience and she believes the story she has and it serves her. And for me, in a now mixed faith marriage, it really was benefiting me to learn to hear religious language that was part of my story and be okay with it, because my dear sweet wife, who I love so much, is still there in that space, and that's wonderful. That's beautiful. This is a cycle that of life that serves her, and she's and everyone. This is a journey that is beautiful and valid every step of the way. I that's really what I believe. And so I quickly learned how to hold space for difference of beliefs. And as I continued to listen to her podcast, it was extremely beneficial for my marriage. And so, like I said, I've joined her Be Bold program, and she's still my coach to this day. I tune in with hundreds, if not thousands, of other individuals, mostly LDS women, who get coached live by Jody in a group situation, just like the ones we do, which I hope you're signed up for. in the early days, these were attended sometimes by just one person, the ones that I'm doing the group coaching for, and that's they got a really good deal. One-on-one with me is not cheap, because if I'm spending time on one of you, which I'm happy to do, I'm definitely happy to coach one-on-one, but that takes my an hour away from coaching hundreds or thousands of you. So the other coach that taught me so much was Brooke Castillo. And she actually, like I mentioned, I believe I said this already, but she trained Jody and I. Were both certified through the Life Coach School. And Brooke has done an amazing job taking a lot of information from many, many wonderful teachers. And she talks about many of them on her podcast in episode 299. It's called Great Teachers. Actually, I'll show you that real quick. So this, I thought this was such a great podcast because it helped me realize that we all are teachers. Brooke listened to all of this information, and only Brooke, just like only you and only me, can put it together in the way that it makes sense to us. And so that's why I feel like this is really amazing, because in getting certified and learning her way, the way that makes sense to her, and it really gelled with me as well. Obviously, I absolutely love the model, but I saw other things that I was seeing in a different way based on my experience that I could offer. And that can happen for you. I believe every single one of us have a special perspective and a unique gift or talent to share with the world. I absolutely believe that. So I wanted to do this podcast very first, because I want you to be exposed to the teachers that I've learned from, because you can learn from them now. And no matter where you are in your journey, some of them are going to resonate more than with others. And some of you are here and the perfect timing to join me on my journey, which is just wonderful. I'm glad you're here with me. And so she's been very instrumental in what I have to share. And I'd like to quote a clip for you from her, but it's actually part of a music mix that I made. I'm a DJ. And so I like to, I really am drawn towards mixing ambient music, stuff with no words, only some percussion. And that's towards the end of the mix. And the mixes are 5.5 to 6 hours long. Some of them are. The one that I'm going to play for you is, I think it's an hour or something. Towards the end of that, I mixed in some spoken word from Brooke, and it's actually one of my favorite things that she talks about and what I have to teach. So here we go, and hopefully this will work. Oops. There we go. Okay. So it's called Learning to Believe in Me. And let's try and play it. Okay. Turn off this other music. And play.
Is one of those feelings that is pretty much unmatched. when you look at all of the other feelings available to us. I like to think of being at a party and there's like a hors d'oeuvre tray which has all the feelings that are available to us. And if you could pick from any of those, which one would you pick? I bring this up mainly when it comes to relationships. I'll say to my client, how do you want to feel towards this person? Maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your child, right? Maybe it's your mother or your mother-in-law. How do you want to feel? If you pick from this tray, which would you pick? This is such a great question because most of us pretend that our feelings are our choices. We pretend that that's not something we're creating, something that the other person is.
And now it just goes a little trippy, right? But that's Brooke talking about unconditional love and again pointing out that it's the way we think about them and that we even can choose to think a certain way about somebody. That's like a choice, despite regardless what they do. Wow, that's so empowering. Like, I love it. And so initially, as I start down that road of
thoughts are a choice, and then those thoughts are creating
still going
that you're currently having. When I ask my clients, or you would ask your clients, right? If you're a coach, you would say, so what do you want to feel when you're around your husband? They won't really see that that's an option. And then most of them will say, well, I'd like to feel at peace, or I'd like to just feel neutral. And that's fine. But what I always suggest is, of all the feelings you have to choose from, why not choose love? Why not choose that as the feeling that you most want to feel, because it feels the best? And if you could always feel love towards someone in your life, wouldn't that be amazing?
wow, so amazing. So yeah, I was definitely drawn to this, especially in the situation that I was in. I needed to figure out how I could be the one to make a difference. And it's not to say that my wife wasn't also figuring out how to be the one to make a difference. I know we were both trying, but it was rough. And, that's life. That's the other thing that I've learned, besides the ability to know that I am in control of my mind, that I have the power to change my thoughts. I need help with it too. Like, we're so blind to ego because ego doesn't want to be recognized, because then ego doesn't exist, or it exists less when we're aware, right? It's one of the cycles that may not serve us all that well. In some cases, it absolutely does. The way that we don't have to use as much brain power when we give over some thoughts to essentially belief. The thoughts that we think the most, we don't have to think about anymore, and they become belief. And beliefs can absolutely serve us, but there's some that absolutely do not. So just like I need help with discerning my thoughts, working through models, and stick with me, I'm going to teach you about the model, and come and get some group coaching, and I'll teach you about the model, and we'll work through it together. And it's so much easier. And when it comes to changing your thoughts, I can even help you come up with thoughts that are believable, that get you to that feeling that you're after, which in my case, I'm absolutely going for love 100%. That's the feeling I want to feel all the time. It feels so good. Like Brooke said, of all the feelings to feel, why not choose love? Why not? It's so wonderful. So, so I think that one of the things that is unique about what I have to offer is that it's free. The coaching that I'm doing is free. And my goal is to help you change your life and if there is a desire to recognize that in some value or form of money, then I have a link that you can donate to, and donate what you feel that change was worth. And if you support other people experiencing this change in their life, you can donate to help me continue this work. One of the things that as coaches, I've heard this idea that, and I know it's true, there's truth to it. It is that when you don't have skin in the game, when you haven't, what are the sayings? Yeah, I wrote some down because it's they're very common. If you don't have skin in the game, that's the one that's coming to me right now. If you haven't put some cash down, then you're going to take it for granted, and you're not going to take it seriously. And it's just ironic that as life coaches, we're buying into that. It's true though. I mean, it's not that we're buying into it, but we're propagating it by saying and knowing that you value money more than yourself, which is why you're going to show up when you pay money for it. But we're trying to teach you to value yourself more than money. So do you see the irony there? And so I've totally been conflicted about it. And I know this is not necessarily the popular thing, and maybe I'm not going to make any money on this. That's totally possible. But I just want to be an example of change and recognizing that cycle. That's a cycle too. That just believing that we won't commit to ourselves unless we pay money. Money is one of the biggest cycles we encounter. So I know we can do this for free. I know that there are people out there, you who are listening, you're willing to do this work and get something out of it and change your life for free. And I'm dead serious. If take me up on that challenge, change your life and don't pay me a penny. I am totally fine with that. And then there's those of you who will want to show gratitude, and it doesn't mean that if you don't pay anything you're not grateful. But I know I donate to a lot of causes that I support, and I'm not probably going to make $1 million on this, but it's not my goal. My goal is to change hearts, to heal hearts, and my own especially. And so I'm like super excited to share what I have to offer, and I think you will not regret it. So here's the moment where I can take what we're talking about here and just continue to share it with the world and benefit from it myself. So this is going to do it for part 1. I'm really excited that I was able to introduce you to Jody and Brooke, and I'm really excited to introduce you to some other great teachers and books that helped me along this journey, and I'm excited to learn from all of you. There's some fantastic individuals and groups of individuals in the area where I live that I'm really excited to introduce you to, that are just very in tune, vibrating on a high frequency, and very aware. And we'll do that in part 2 and possibly even part 3, maybe even part 4. So I'm looking forward to that. And I love you all. And most important, I love me. Thanks for being here, everybody. Oh, you know what? Can't sign off before I recognize Ben Shirts, everybody. I don't think I did it on the podcast. I did it on the live stream. So it's important to me for you to know who this genius is that you've been listening to this whole, all of these episodes, or at least this episode. Ben Shirts, Shurts, has been gracious enough to let me use his music on my podcast. And I am in love with this music. It's so wonderful. So enjoy. I love you all. And most important, I love me. All right. Well, why am I so stiff with the podcast? It's that format. I'm like, I need to just loosen up and be more me. This writing it down thing may not work out. I was stuck to it the whole time, and not the whole time, but there were definitely parts where I was like, lost in the script and not speaking from my heart. I mean, when I wrote it was from my heart, but then it's not in the moment anymore. And I'm so about the moment. Like, look at me. This all of a sudden I'm like free from that podcast. So anyway, thanks for joining me on the live stream. I really enjoyed that there were people here. I could feel your energy. So join me anytime that you can make it. Like the pages or the channels that you're watching on, and opt in for the notifications so that you can know when I'm going live. And when you can't make it live, you can definitely check it out, because they're still, you're able to watch them back like you're probably doing right now. So thank you for doing that. So, all right. So live stream is now ending, and you already know I love you and I love me. Bye. Oh yeah. Get it. Hit it twice.